Oh, well, there you go. This is the August the 24th, 2017. Another day, another Jew that was involved in my abduction came by on my channel. This Jew already came to me back on so many, before, earlier, on many other occasions. But now, he kind of lost his way because, well, I did expose Jews in South Africa. I exposed their agenda for South Africa, what's happening in South Africa because of them. I'm talking about, to make myself clear, about white South African Jews, if we can call them white. I'm using the term white because many white Afrikaners have adopted Yahweh. They have adopted Judaism as the way to go. They are professing ZIOFASCISM. Now you're talking about lunacy, you know, like type of religious lunacy, basically what we are talking about here. Okay, and so individual that I have exposed earlier was Andre Venter. It does not even show the preview here, the thumbnails. To exterminate. And the other individual that was involved in my abductions, extremely aggressive individual. I well remember him under abductions. These are exact threats these people have, you know, what we, this and that. Yeah, it was this individual right here, Yandre Krutzer. Okay, this is really individual that is, how can I say, if you go to his channel, we're going to go a little later on to the channel, but I want to depict you how wicked these Jews are in South Africa, if this guy is white at all. I mean, like I said, or, you know, I am Boer Afrikaner. Okay, so he positioned himself in a Boer Afrikaner, that he is a Boer Afrikaner. Therefore, Afrikaners are mixed, oftentimes with blacks and so on. They are not as pure as Boers, whites. Okay, so this guy places himself on the top of the chain over there when it comes to white race in South Africa. So he called himself a Boer Afrikaner. Okay, so now if I say something against this guy, I would go against the Boer Afrikaner. Basically, when somebody says to you like this, he creates mentality, thinking in you that you actually, you know, you don't have no reason to go against individual that is Boer, he's white, Afrikaner, Dutch maybe, I don't know. Okay, and then he goes on and he relates to me himself more with that he also got banned, 30-day ban on the Facebook. Okay, I won't deny there are wealthy Masonic evil Afrikaans speakers who give us a bad name, because what the truth is that this Jew who was involved in my abductions, this Jew alone is Masonic Jew. Now, again, I don't really know if this is what he's watching here. This is the stuff that he liked. He liked Bet Shalom, a Messianic congregation. He loved the Judaism, Jewry, South African Jewry is what he liked, okay? But if we go back here again to him, okay, he states here that evil, wealthy Masonic evil Afrikaans speaker give us a bad name. Basically, Jew is a beast, a deceiver, and this beast here, this Yandre Krutzer, who is an extremely violent thug. Like I said, the guy was involved in my abductions per Benjamin Netanyahu, South Africa team. Okay, here we'll use here as an excuse that wealthy Masonic evil Afrikaans give us a bad name. Okay, but that he himself is actually a Jew, Masonic Jew, he will not tell you. Okay, that's something he will not say. Now you can see right here, you can see the who and what he is. Boer, white Afrikaner, well, under Kreuze, every white Boer Afrikaner we know from now on who you really are. You are a sick dude is what you are. You know, you are a psychopath. You are a psychopath that tortures individual. You fucking tortured me under the MKULTRA. You threatened me. And now you come back to bully. So you're basically laughing in my face. Huh? You insult. And you don't only insult, okay? You don't only call me names, but you actually insult like with the blatant lies. Like anybody could see what I have pointed out in my video. The individual literally said in my face that he's gonna kill me and I don't know what. And you come here on my site, on my YouTube, and you think that because I was actually diagnosed by the government as a paranoid schizophrenic, that I'm just gonna be quiet about the abductions and you can shit all over my wall and you can exercise your Jewish, wicked, disgusting ways, that you're just gonna fucking insult me here in my face, lie to me, and laugh in my face, that you're gonna humiliate me, and that you're gonna divide me, that you're gonna make me hate white Afrikaner, white Boer people because you are such a disgusting creature, is basically what you think. And you think they're gonna take your side, Jew. You think they're gonna see in me enemy because of you, because of what you have done. And I'm saying that you Jews in South Africa, you South African Jews, you have killed over 90,000 whites in South Africa, and you have over 1 million of whites in South Africa stationed in white concentration camps. Not because of the Jews only in Europe, in Holland mainly, but mostly everything in the world is happening to us whites across the Europe, US, and especially white South African people because of Jews in South Africa, because of you, Jew, South African Jew, because of you, white South African supporter of the Jews. This is why we have the evil in this world. Okay, let's go on with this. He's talking about the hatred, okay? This shit that have tortured, that have abducted, that insults here, is talking about the hatred here. Why is it that we have feminism? Why is it that we have gay? Why is it that we have all this issue? I'm going to tell you why we have it, okay? We have it because of the shit like this here that should never ever exist in the first place, is why we have it. We have this because the people like this do the stuff that I have just stated so much, so successfully they do it, that they don't only split the nations, they split human beings. They split men on half and they split women on half. They split women into extreme, into feminists. Women start to think they're men, males. They are angry at men because men lost their mind. And men are split on half. Men see themselves as women. They see themselves as gay. This is why we have all this evil in this world. And I already have talked about this Jewish diabolic stuff. He does not mind to talk. He does not mind to he will lie to you. He will try to associate himself with Christians, God-fearing, this and that. Let me tell you something. Mossad, when the water is dripping down the throat, the Jew that is Jew will hide Torah under the bed and will tell you he's a Christian. And this guy here is absolutely no different. He associates himself with Boers, with Afrikaners, with the Christians, God-fearing, this and that, Christ, this and that. He actually called me a wicked man and suggests that I am a Mason or a Catholic spy. He he who actually is a Jew, a Mossad spy is what he is. He's not Catholic. I actually embrace Catholicism, excuse me. He already is trying to divide here and conquer. You see, he is already trying to divide and conquer again Catholicism. Okay, he associates Catholicism with Masonry and stuff like that. You see, this is the wicked. This is the type of the wicked mentality that these Jews, Mossad agents have. Split, divide, and conquer. He understands his anger. He understands his anger of his body. He understands his anger of his body, of Andre Venter. Do you know why he understands the anger of the Andre Venter? Because the two of them were abduction team from South Africa. This is a Mossad team, the Mossad South African Mossad team, Benjamin Netanyahu team that was involved in my abductions. Okay. He kept blatantly lying, like I said, you know, to basically to insult like that. He would post it in a public forum. No, this guy actually posted all over the Facebook. He disseminated lies all over the Facebook about me that you have seen on the above video. If you have not seen the above video, which is going to be posted everywhere else, see it and you're going to see what this was all about. Okay? Yeah. This video proves that I'm inciting violence and hatred against white Boers. I do not know how I would incite violence and hatred against the white Boers. I don't know where he got that from. I don't know how he drew the conclusion based on the very video here above. But no normal person cannot draw the conclusion. I'm actually calling Boers, white Afrikaners, Boers, whatever is left out of them, to return back to European origins, to stay within limits, as a part of the white nations, is basically what I'm trying to do. I'm calling the white Afrikaner, I'm calling the white Boers to distance themselves from the Jews, from the Judaism. I'm asking them to adopt Jesus Christ as a Savior. I'm asking them to become part of the Catholicism. I'm asking them to become part of the Christianity. I was completely, totally clear about what exactly I expect from them. I am asking them to stop what is taking place in Europe, the third world invasion, because it is taking place because of their wicked ways, because they do not condemn their fellow white Afrikaners, if those already are not mixed with Jews, promoting Judaism amongst white South African people, yelling, ZIOFASCISM is the way to go. This is what I am asking white South African people. I have never called on any violence or hatred against them. I called on our people, white people in South Africa, to distance themselves from the ZIOFASCISM, from the evil that have placed over a million of white Afrikaners, Boers, into the white concentration camps in South Africa. That's where they are today. I'm asking them to distance themselves from the ZIOFASCISM, which have killed, murdered over 90,000 South African whites within just 23, 24 years. This is basically what I am asking for. And he goes on with his rant. This dude is very aggressive. In a little bit I'm going to show you what his interests are. He lives in video world, in a gaming world. He likes to see himself as a militant, and he likes to associate his Jewish culture with white South Africans, with white South African militants, with past, white South African past, when they have their own army and so on. A little bit I'm going to show you, because that's what the Jew does. Jew is extremely aggressive creature. Jew is a beast. What the Jew does is, this is the most violent creature that ever lived. I mean, it was the Jew, the one that have created Adolf Hitler. It was the Jew, the one that have created Nazi Party. Because with their wicked ways, with their aggressive ways, with their hatreds, they have driven German people insane. German people did not pay attention to the stuff Jews did. Jews' customs involve even females not shaking with males. They involve marital laws. They involve a million things that, including the dressing code, that normal world, Christianity, Europe have not seen until this seeds of Satan have arrived to Europe, and they have started to create their own ways, their own wicked, crazy ways. And they are extremely militant, they are extremely aggressive, and that's basically is what have created Hitler. That's basically is what have created a cleanup in Europe, and if it was not for cleanup in Europe, there would not be no Europe today. But I still condemn Adolf Hitler, because he murdered over 50 million people who had nothing to do with this. Everybody in this world wanted to do the same. Stalin wanted to do the same. British wanted to do the same. French. Everybody wanted to do the same. But it was this Adolf Hitler, this accident that was so hasty, so thirsty for accomplishments that he just had to burn the whole Europe, the whole world. But other than that, everybody wanted to do the same thing. We all knew from ages who Jews are. Jews were never welcome in any country in the world. Jews had to have special permissions to reside in our cities in Europe, where they were not welcome. They were rejected. Nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted them anywhere. It's an evil. Wherever they came, sooner than not, people started to lose their houses, stayed without the jobs. Whoring started to happen. All kinds of stuff started to happen. They ruined cities, villages, and countries, and continents. And today, just 73 years later, after they claimed it was a Holocaust, 6 million, these very same Satan seeds are attempting to take over of entire world. Now imagine, 10 million of them are trying to take down the whole world. Now he goes on with, that's just a low way. Call me insecure. As for Israel, I don't have any personal issues with Israel, and frankly, beyond my power to do anything about it. In fact, I will leave the things up to the Most High to judge with in His good time eventually. It's not on your job, yes, it's not me. I should just leave it. I should just obey. I should just be a good Christian. I should just let it go. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Christ coming. Oh yes, the Hebrew blood. He had the Hebrew blood in his vein. He will give you, now he's going to give you the Judeo-Christianic prayer right here. If he had to, he will tell you that not all the Jews are the same. And it's like I have stated, it is true. It is. It is true. In fact, 10% of them, it's just like I have stated in my blogs, 10% of them condemning Israel. They even appear to be good Jews. But we cannot deny the fact that it is exactly because of this 10% that other 90% exist. And we cannot deny another fact. We cannot deny the fact that because of this 10%, the evil throughout the history of the world that have murdered over 500 million people went on, and even today is marching on. Because there's always a good Jew that stays alive after people go fucking mad. Now I suggest him to keep away from here. I mean, I suggest him that I tell him in the face, I'm not into any mind games with Mossad, South African Mossad. I plain tell him who and what he is. His games here, that just because the government in Slovenia have diagnosed me with paranoid schizophrenia, really will not prevent me from bringing out statement and accusation that this very individual was involved also in my MKULTRA abductions. Oh, this is the individual who was beside what is now president in Republic of Slovenia. Borut Pahor is his name. Also involved in me. Okay, so this individual here that you see here, his name is Igor Vojtic or whatever. He is a Jew. And this exact individual was involved in MKULTRA's overseas abductions, torture. This individual is a lunatic. This individual has performed torture on me, ladies and gentlemen. Another individual involved in it was an individual that you see here. His name is Klemen Jelinčić Boeta. This is the son of so-called Slovenian nationalist. This individual is in Israel right now. He have threatened me with abduction to Israel if it's not going to be the way Israel would want to have their things going. Jews highly anticipate in this very moment actually to abduct me to Israel. Threaten me also with assassinations and all kinds of stuff. This pretty criminal here that you see was locked numerous times, but he gets going thanks to our president Borut Pahor, who was involved against me from very beginning. This basically is how Netanyahu, they all worked for the Netanyahu, they all performed the torture under the Netanyahu's instructions. This is how the Netanyahu creates so-called Nazis. Okay, these people started already, this shit started in 1998. These people simply needed a scapegoat. That's how the hell it works. These things are not going to work. I will no longer be a victim of rape and state diagnosis as per what am I going to be allowed to say and what will happen if I will dare to say. That kind of ideology here is not going to work. It didn't work for me and it will no longer work here. I have refrained myself from a lot of things. So next time when you come here and you want to tell me something, just know that I'm just going to call you out. If I'm going to see that you are the one, and trust me, the stuff that I do regarding the fear, the stuff that I do, everything that I do, these videos here, I'm going to respect you. I'm going to explain to you how much fear I have from you. I do it for you. I do it so we can meet the game. You see, one thing is when we met under the MKULTRA, when you abducted me, when you drugged me up, tortured me, and you threatened me. Another one is going to be when you're going to step, I should say, when I'm going to step in front of you. And that's when we're going to see how much man you really are. Because the stuff that I do so I can find my way back to you, Andre. Make no mistake about that. So you come back to me like this, I know you're going to come back to me, and I welcome you to come back to me. I thank you. I thank you. The other day I had a Jew over there, another one, and so on, from Israel, who also came back to me. They all come back to me because it's part of their job. It's part of what, basically, is what they do. After the MKULTRA, after the torture, after all the stuff they do, these people come back to you. So they try to bully you, they try to challenge you, they try to make you some kind of statement, something that could place you behind the bars, or something that they can use to misrepresent, something they can use and suggest, let's say, like in this case, to a white South African minority, that I hate them, and that I actually am trying to even annihilate them. That's basically is the job of the Mossad. And Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel, have a very powerful crew in South Africa. You're talking about the Mossad crew. So I expect from white South African people to take actions in respect to this. Here's what Yander Krotze depicts himself as under his channel, basically. The threats, the only thing they do is they basically create more motivation in me. So basically the only thing that you do is when you threaten me, the only thing you do is you motivate me a little bit more to find you. That's all there is to it. He got a lot about a Jewish world. Stephen Molyneux, the same thing. That's a ZIOFASCIST right there. This is a fanatism. It's a fanatic. It's a Judeo-Christian fanatic is what it is. If anything is Christian in him at all. And he will have these games. He likes to play the military games. He likes the tactical military games. See, and he associates himself with South African Defense Forces. He likes that too. So, you know, like I said, so people see in him ally, and this is the biggest mistake that white South African people do. Welcome to the Facebook. We removed something you posted, and they say it's not following the standards of the Facebook. And you can see here the Hitlerjahu, okay, and it is Hitlerjahu, I should say NATO, ZIOFASCIST organization NATO, that served to this man only, one and only. That is just a plain fact, okay? Facebook cannot take it. ZIOFASCISM is falling apart. It started to hurt. It started to hurt them. And they acknowledge this. The pain is huge. It does not matter. This image is going to be all over the internet. It does really not matter. We created a Facebook and community standards. You did not create anything. You're nobody. You don't actually even have the right to exist. This is basically what you really are. Okay? Facebook is nothing else than Mossad book. It's a book of crime. Criminality is what it is. Well, okay. Andrew Coates did post another comment here. Yander Krotze suggested me that I have no peace, and I shall not find the peace until ceasing forever. Well, the first thing that I want to say is that, you know, saying something like that to someone that you have tortured, that you have him under the MKULTRA, life-threatened him, truly is a thoughtful thing to say. You know, the only creature that possibly could come up with something like this, again, really is a Jew. This is just another proof about this Yandre Kroce or Koce or whatever he is. Again, I'm thankful for this gesture because it's really beautiful, and the second thing is showing me just how much on knees these people really are, and just how low they're willing to go to get something from me, any kind of feedback, anything. Well, you know, Jew, Yandre Kroce and Andre Venter, Jews, Mossad, South African Mossad. But you did have peace, you know, all through, even if you tortured me, and it started in 98. And it went on like this all the way to 2005. Actually, 2005, 2006 to be exact. I did not even respond to abductions. I did not even respond to MKULTRA. I did not respond to your torture. I did not respond to your forced joblessness. I did not respond to everything you have done to me. And you really did. In the US, you drove me insane, like you have driven other people crazy completely. You turned them into Nazis. You turned them into, you know, all kinds of... Whatever fits your agenda is what you turn people to. It's something I already have talked about. And so I guess it's you who don't have peace now. We shall see about who's going to cease forever. Huh? Let's see about that. Well, you can see this guy is a psychopath. Flesh, blood, powers, principality, wickedness, high places. I mean, it's just the language itself, but this guy is sick. Yeah, there you go. Another account of mine. It's also being deleted. They also claim that it did not follow the Facebook standards. Again, Facebook doesn't have any standards other than the stuff that I already have talked about. The only thing that I have posted is the truth. That is the only thing that I have posted. The comments, the only thing I did is I have mirrored the people, their comments. If they're not going to distance themselves from the Jews, therefore I have posted the comments from the white South African people, and they are simply disgusting in respect to other whites worldwide. And I'm referring to the beautiful Eastern European women that are enslaved, abducted, raped, beaten up, offered for sale, and exposed to the rape. 30, 40, 50 men per day rape single one of them in Israel. They've beaten them up, they beat them up, they hoard them, they destroy them emotionally, physically, then they report them for the prostitution and they return them back, whether it is Ukraine, Russia, Poland, whatever Eastern European country it is, might be Czechoslovakia, Romania, for them to die there like animals. And the white Afrikaans, the white Afrikaner, they have absolutely no compassion with it. They actually side with Israel. They like Israel doing this to Eastern European white women. Looks like they're not taking any responsibilities for that, and they're simply removing everything. They're hiding everything. Andrew did manage to come back. Yeah, today is August the 25th, 2017, and he stated me that he is my worst nightmare. This individual right here, this is the individual who have life threatened me and so on. A Mossad, the Jew from South Africa, is what it is. Regarding the previously mentioned abductions, I am just going to point you out what I have published here on August the 25th, 2017. Today is already 26th. Okay. This is Slovenian ambassador to Israel, Barbara Sushnik, who is by some sources in European Union considered as insane. I understand she was a completely different person prior to the mission in Israel, and she does have Israeli ties already for many years. Different person than what it became, and it became a monster already a long time ago. A total lunatic, ZIOFASCIST, ZIO-Nazi lunatic. It's a female, and I guess that you know, it's just the president alone in Slovenia is so fucking crazy, excuse me on the expression. Okay, she is posing right there above, as you can see here, with Ayelet Shaked. Well, this is an Israeli extremist, nationalist, fascist, Nazi. ZIOFASCIST is what it is. And she thinks actually that the ZIOFASCISM is a really, really, really cool thing to do. And so she was really emotionally abusive during my trips to Israel, and have even suggested me that all she does again is for me. She actually suggested to me that she convinced Israelis for me. But she's not exception to that rule, as Norwegian female psychiatrists did the same thing. So this is a garbage the world have not seen. This is a previous ambassador, Alenka Suchadolnik, who did not, according to her, if I would ever mention her name, I would go to psychiatry, I would end into psychiatry. I don't want to have my name mentioned. I don't want to have anything to do with it. However, according to the protocol of ambassador and fact that I am Slovenian citizen, she did not only fail to protect my rights from the torture, from the psychological and physical abuse performed to me by Israelis, American government and Slovenian government. She actually have assisted them, so I don't see how the hell that she, that she would be excused from that. She does not want to go to Israel, because it looks like these people are going to be running to Israel, all of them, sooner than not. Regarding these people here, my family now shit in pants. It looks like they don't want to have anything to do with it. Their opinion now changed drastically. I do not really know, however, how much opinion changed or not. What did it change? Here, this is Trump Kushner crew from USA. Okay, just want to make sure that you see that. I'm not going to waste my time on it. This is a Slovenian Jew, Igor Vojtec, who was used during abductions because, no, it's not that. It's just shape of the head reminds of my friend in parentheses, Bartel Simon, okay? Bartel Simon does have a different face than this one here. Now this is a Jew, Slovenian Jew, and this is how he identifies himself as, and the guy is fucking crazy. He's a fanatic, he's a lunatic. He abused me in this very room at a computer and have misrepresented himself under the MKULTRA to me also as Simon Bartel, as my friend. Okay, so he was very active during these overseas abductions and have translated me messages, the way they would want them to translate to me, Israel, as he is my close friend. Okay, and you see him here. This here is Slovenian Jew, Klemen Jelincic, Boeta, lives in Israel. He might have come back now to Maribor, I do not know. He was born here, and this little thug have threatened me, guaranteed me abduction to Israel. He guaranteed me abduction to Israel and torture in Israel. He already did torture me in Israel. This here is his dad, Izmago Jelincic. This is the guy who had a lot to tell about the gypsies, of course about the Muslims, but he was not also shy to call Croatian people gypsies also during so-called independence in Slovenia. Leader of the nationalist movement, this is a Slovenian Jew also, just like a Geert Wilders is in Holland and so on. So every country throughout Europe, they have shitbags, ZIOFASCIST garbage like the one that you see here. Loves guns, loves to play with the guns, was already arrested for thefts, for all kinds of thefts, is a racist, dislikes Austrian, German people, Croatian people, Italian people, I would probably say Hungarian people. Was arrested for stealing the property, Slovenian state property, Slovenian treasures, state treasures, and so on. And so, you know, this is just the stuff that I could go on and talk to you about these abductions, give you really serious, deep details about the Israeli torture of the wise U.S. and European Union citizens. But go ahead, stop on my news site, and you know, you'll get to read a little bit and watch the video, and you will become acquainted. This here is Borut Pahor. He gave Port of Copper practically for free to the Jews. Opened a direct line with Israel from the Port of Copper. How about that?
Abductions and torture went in full mode already under the Bill Clinton, and it just continued. It actually progressed under the George W. Bush even more. In fact, on one of the occasions when he was here, I don't know, was he here with Netanyahu? He was one time here with Netanyahu. His father was also here. Junior also was here. They have a whole bunch of politicians here. Actually, I don't know for any politicians that were not, almost any that were not here that count today. On one of the occasions, George W. Bush have forgotten actually even his, how do you call that, bones and skulls and bones cross. He left me that. You know, he was explaining me you know, his ideas. And you know, the other day when my mom, you know, I wanted to get her one of this, and so she doesn't want this. So instead of that, she showed me, she showed me that skull and bones cross that George W. Bush have left here. And I was kind of shocked. I said to myself, man, I said, you know, this is probably from the SS. You know, Germans must have left here, or the Home Guard here in Slovenia must have had that. I said, Mom, I said, what are you walking around with this thing? And she said, no, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it's coming from, this and that. And so I did some research online, okay, according to my memory, just for fun of it. Just, you know, I wasn't really thinking I'm going to find that, but it really is a skull and bone cross that is actually, according to what I have learned from online about this cross, is unifying Judaism with Christianity. Okay, so if you want to see one, there you have it. This is the cross that George W. Bush have left here at this residence right here. So maybe Georgie, you just want to give me an address and I can mail one back to you. Okay, see this thing here? I'm really not interested in having this garbage here, or for that matter to be a member of the Skull and Bones Society, where I understand even Obama is. This here is, well, this is a candle I have talked to you guys about when I was in Belarus. Actually, it's real, and it was in an attic up there above my room. It is representing vagina, and it was left to me by lunatic known as Benjamin Netanyahu, or Benjamin Netanyahu, I don't know. He is currently a PM of Israel, as you know, and he got this one ordered, one of the Norwegian psychologists that have assisted this shitbag, have provided him with one, I guess even maybe from Norway, I would say. I don't want to mention her name, really. I don't want her any harm. She actually alone, she doesn't want to be even in the profession, psychology profession. She re-educated herself. I guess she got disgusted. Okay, so this here, supposedly, according to what Netanyahu wished me back then, would be abstinence from females, which eventually would even turn me into gay. Totally perverted me and turned me into gay. So, thanks for this one here. The abstinence was stuff to be without a woman almost entire life. Definitely entire life in America. Pretty damn tough to be without a female when the only female they want you are black and of other races. I don't think that this is, that this should be acceptable really for any human being. That somebody would determine, based on your sexual needs, what your partner is going to be. This is not white genocide. I don't really know what it is. What else is it I want to say to you today, folks? Well, regarding the threats, regarding the South Africa, okay, what I want to say is, the way I feel about this whole thing is, okay, previously I have mentioned Steve Hofmeyr and I have mentioned Sunit Bridges. I cannot say about the Steve Hofmeyr, but Sunit Bridges was in Miami already 97, 98, 99. Along with employment agencies from Europe, and all of them, British, Scandinavian, German, all of them. That's where all these people met me. Because that's exactly what I have came for to Miami. They came to Miami to praise Judaism with stabbing of Jesus Christ, I guess, because I have spent, as you know, jobless since 2006, that's about 11 years. Over 30,000 jobs, declined, thrown in psychiatry, tortured to death, threatened with abductions, subjected to MKULTRA for over a year and a half. I believe that I estimated at the time that I was drugged up when the U.S. I estimate to about a year and a half of the time that I was drugged up and subjected to torture when in U.S. Either those were overseas abductions or domestic terrorism under the Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. Again, I'm going to repeat to you, I am a U.S. citizen and I am Slovenian citizen. Okay? So things like this should not happen for the purpose, for the sake of the Judaism, for the sake of the Zionism, again, about which I knew nothing about till I went to the U.S. It's these people that need people like myself so they can get their cause going. And even when you praise the white nationalism regarding the Sunit Bridges, this is very disgusting, Sunit. I got a very low opinion about you. You changed yourself, you did all that stuff, but you didn't do it for your people. And you didn't do it for Jesus Christ. You did it for the Jews, you did it for the Judaism, you did it for the Zionism. Over 90,000 people died because of you. You are a representative of South Africa, you are the most known. You took that charge, you took that responsibility for it. Like I said, I don't know about Steve Hofmeyr, how much better he is. I deem that he is not much better because he knew all about this. He knew about this. He did not directly, he did met me under MKULTRA, but this individual did not want to get involved in it. He did not want to take responsibility for it. But when you know about these things, and you keep doing these things so the Judaism, so the Zionism can progress into ZIOFASCISM, and you know, you're trying to unite white people under the Zionism, under the ZIOFASCISM. That is the most disgusting thing you can do, especially when we consider that you sacrifice your own people there in South Africa if white daughters, white moms, white wives don't mean anything to you. If the children of those mean absolutely nothing to you when those got abducted, raped, beaten up until they're completely destroyed and physically and emotionally, well, in that case, I don't have the words for it. Like I said, if Afrikaners, the white Afrikaners, Boers, are not going to distance themselves from, from this type of politics, what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to cross the river right next to the Jews, and you're going to be with those whom you truly like. I should say love, because if you're willing to die for the enemy, for the sake of the Antichrist, for the sake of the parasite that have ruined this world over and over, then I guess that you should be in that same category. You did prove your alliance to them, so you should be categorized also as such. Is how basically I see it. As you folks, I'm sure you know, I've spent about 13 years in the U.S., of which 11 and a half it was in Miami, Miami Beach to be precise, where the Jewish population is about 90%. All right. First, they try with blatant lies. They try with totally distorted reality. They try to maybe see how stupid you are, because it works. In the U.S., people are talking about unidentified flying objects, aliens. They talk about stuff that is really fit for psychiatric hospital. They try to distort everything you have learned in the school, and I want to see basically how far you're willing to go. When things don't work, okay, you basically cut connection like that, because the longer you let with individual like this, the longer you have connection with them, the worse things get. Okay, lies like this, sure enough, go into insanity. Dementia, basically, is what it is. It's a distorted world of lies, and nobody knows better how to do it than Jews. Trust me, they are experts at it. Don't give up, okay? And when you cut off their so-called connections, they like to use the phrase bridge to nowhere. They like to suggest sarcastically, you know, especially if you tell them off, something like that, if those interviews, and in a brutal way, if you're not nice to them and you just stress them in the face what you think about them, what they'll do is they'll have someone pass by, and that person eventually will say to you sarcastically, let's say, how many friends did you make today, and so on. Okay. What I'm trying to say to you folks is that the people in this white resistance movement, that's supposed to be the white resistance movement, these leaders that we have across the Europe, they're no good. A Trump phenomena, Kushner phenomena, a ZIOFASCISm phenomena, it's finished, it's over. They did not get what they wanted to. They wanted to get me, they did not. Any country, and you folks, you cannot deny that, any country across the Europe, from Holland, Geert Wilders, Britain, Tommy Robinson, Austria, Strache, and you have Germany and Italy, everywhere, France, everywhere. I'm not going to even go into movements other than white resistant movements, okay? They absolutely all favor, I should say at least they have favored, ZIOFASCISm is the way to go. The point here is that they are the bridges to nowhere, okay? The road finished. If we were to continue on their path, the only thing we would create is greater division between us. Yes, the last thing that we want to do is we want to pay respect to the enemy that have genocided us, that have created a genocide against us, and praise one like über alles, above all, and that's called Israel. That is the last thing that we're going to do. If we were to follow their process, it would take decades of self-destruction. The end is also known. It would be the end of the world. If they were to win that option, if that option were to win, it would be the end for us. Regarding my comment that Netanyahu would even appoint me as the president of Israel, I was not kidding at all. I mentioned this to you in the blog. It was not a joke. It was mentioned to me throughout MKULTRA. They brainwashed. They targeted responses, how I'm going to act, the questions, how I have responded, and so on. And you know, the best proof about that is perhaps wife from Donald Trump. That's Melania. She's about 20 miles from here. This is how far they have gone to get me into their net of the ZIOFASCISM. This really is nothing that these people have not tried. They got the money, they got absolutely everything, and it all failed. It collapsed. It is a bridge to nowhere that is going to end now. ZIOFASCISM is finished. Do not rely on these leaders. Once you go bad, I don't really want you to come back, to be honest with you. You know, changing your position, switching the tables, when war turns around, you know, accepting you back as some sort of as a valid option, for me is a no-no. Promised scenarios to me, in case the video, the one that you have just seen, will appear on the internet one day, meaning that the whole thing failed, collapsed. Well, quite many. Anywhere from assassination attempts, Mossad hits, snipers, and all the way, which I think it was more, it's more likely would take place, would be basically hijacking, another abduction to Israel. And so they have gone as far as subjecting me to heavy mental torture in Israeli prison, where I had to face inmates, Israelis, Jews, definitely. In a dining room, it suggested me, you could have all that, but you just didn't want, and so you're going to come back. And so this abuse, emotional, repeated on several occasions, yeah, I remember tears, stuff. You know, you ask them why this and that, because you just want to come back and stuff like that. They crash you, like psychologically, they destroy you, they eat you out, totally. I mean, you're talking about very intense torture, heavy torture, okay? And so this would happen, okay, if video like I suggested one day would appear, and you have seen. I have no idea why the telephone even is buzzing, but it started to buzz. I don't even have a telephone card in it. I don't get it, how that's where that's coming from. But anyhow, here's the siren going on the other side. What I was going to say, Americans were talking about the money. To them, to Trump's, the money was the biggest issue. Okay, they just love to talk about the money. It's because the money that we have lost, the money that we have invested, you know, to help you out, because everything that was happening to me, it was happening, of course, it was happening to help me out. Okay, all the torture, everything they have performed with me, it was done for my sake, to help me out.